Freckles and Willy by Marjorie Coiler, illustrated by Marcia Winborn. A Valentine's Day story.
Hey, who drew the pictures?
Illustrated by Marcia Winborn. That's who drew the pictures.
Oh.
Freckles was Willy's best friend. He was always there when Willy needed him. If Willy was lonely, Freckles would bring him something to play with. If Willy was cold, Freckles would curl up on his feet like a warm pair of slippers. If Willy was sad, Freckles would lean against him and make him feel better. Because Willy was new in town, he had no other children to play with, so he always played with Freckles. Early in February, Willy woke up and looked at his calendar. Valentine's Day was less than 2 weeks away. I'll have to make a surprise Valentine for Freckles, he said to himself. It has to be perfect. It can't be too big or too small, and I'll draw dog biscuits around the edge. Willy worked all day on the Valentine. Finally, it was finished, and he hid it in his closet. Later that week, another new family moved into a house across the street. A girl who was Willy's age came over to make friends. "Hi," she said. "My name is Jane." "I'm Willy," said Willy, "and this is Freckles." Jane sneezed. "I'm allergic to dogs," she sniffed. Willy patted Freckles and put him in the basement. "You'll only have to stay here a few hours," he said. Freckles began to bark. While Willy and Jane played cards, Freckles barked louder. "Does he always bark that loud?" Jane asked. "No," said Willy. "He wants to be with us." "I can't stand that noise," said Jane. "Let's go to my house to play." So for the next few days, Willy went to play at Jane's house. Freckles stayed home and waited for Willy to return. When Willy walked in the door, Freckles wagged his tail. "Jane says your tail looks like an old string," said Willy. Freckles brought his favorite bone to Willy. "Jane says that your bones smell," said Willy. Freckles put his head on Willy's knee. "I can't play with you right now," said Willy. "I have to make a Valentine for Jane." Freckles went down to the basement and lay his head on his pillow in the dark. Willy worked hard on Jane's Valentine. He made it out of red construction paper and aluminum foil. He pasted ribbons, lace, and stars on it. On Valentine's Day, Willy left to take Jane's card next door. Freckles followed him outside. "No, Freckles, you have to stay at home," said Willy. "Jane doesn't like dogs, remember?" Freckles barely wagged his tail. He whimpered as Willy went over to Jane's house. When Willy rang the doorbell, Jane answered the door. "Hi," said Willy. "I brought you a present." "Yuck!" she exclaimed. "You made me a Valentine? I hate Valentines!" She slammed the door. Willy blinked. His eyes filled with tears. "I'm going home," he said. When Willy got home, Freckles wasn't waiting for him. "Freckles!" called Willy, but Freckles didn't come. Willy looked for Freckles in all of his favorite places, but Freckles wasn't in any of them. Not in the basement, not in the kitchen, not even under Willy's bed. He looked for Freckles beneath the lilac bushes and in the garage. "Freckles!" he called out, but Freckles still didn't come. Suddenly, Willy remembered that he had made Freckles a Valentine. He ran outside to get it. When he opened his closet door, there was Freckles. "Freckles!" shouted Willy. "I've been looking all over for you. I thought you'd run away." Willy dragged Freckles out of the closet. He opened his arms, but Freckles didn't jump into them. He just lay down and put his head between his paws. "Oh, Freckles," said Willy. "I'm sorry I was so mean." Freckles wagged his tail once. "I'll never desert you again," said Willy. Freckles wagged his tail harder. Willy reached for Freckles' Valentine. "Look what I made for you," he said. Willy tied the Valentine to Freckles' collar. Freckles wagged his tail so hard his whole body wiggled. He barked and barked. "This Valentine is for you because I love you," said Willy. Freckles jumped up and licked Willy all over his face. Later, while Willy did his homework, Freckles leaned against him, and when Willy went to sleep that night, Freckles curled up on his feet like a warm pair of slippers. The end.
Now